finally get to clean out this garage because we're going to take the old seats and measure them to create our new seats. Now this, looking back on it, it may not have been the smartest thing to do because we had the opportunity at this point to really customize the seats better to what we were hoping to use them for. But that's the choice we made, so we took all the dimensions down and started cutting some wood. Okay, so after we cut everything, we actually started to do our assembly. The way we assemble these is we use some exterior wood glue and just some finish nails to tack everything together while that glue dried. This right here is a console that was actually built by my son-in-law several years ago. You can see a picture of him here with that's actually a cardboard mock-up. So he spent a lot of time on this console, and you could tell it was well constructed. The project that this was going to go on is long gone now, and he was actually going to throw this away. And I seen it and I said, I think we can repurpose this. So one of the things we had to do is he had built a live well on the front of it. We had no use for the live well, so we decided we'd go ahead and cut that off. We just went ahead and patched it in with a new piece of plywood, and worked perfect. The next thing we did is we started to actually put some fiberglass on these seats. We used all 3/4 plywood, so we didn't really need the strength, but we just needed something to be able to put the gel coat on that was going to keep the wood from moving around and cracking the gel coat in the future. So what we did is we went ahead and we put our fiberglass on these. We flayed all of our joints, so every single joint, the 90 degrees were all flayed so they were nice and rounded out. And you can see here we got everything done, and we're ready to start our fairing process. When we talk about the fairing stage, what we're looking to do is really to smooth this all out. Okay, now I'll give you an example. This right here, which I don't know how well you can see it, but this is still rough. This is our bare fiberglass with nothing on it, just the resin. Then over here, this is a couple layers of fairing, and you can see it's a lot smoother. Now on the larger surface, you can really tell that where the white is and where this almost clear is, that's the resin. The white is filling in the low spots. So the purpose for the fairing is to get this as straight and as smooth as possible. One of the reasons you have to do that is if you run into a hard edge. Okay, now you can see pretty good line right here. Okay, what that is caused by is if you use the hard edge, I'll show you here, of a piece of fiberglass. Alright, so here's a piece of chop strand. This is all the nice wispy edges. Now these edges, when you go ahead and you resin those in, they will almost vanish. And when you come over top of it this way, they'll all blend in. This is the hard edge. Now the hard edge is hard. That's what it looks like. Okay, that is one of the problems that you have to cover up with your fairing. Now I try not to do that, and you can see, like on this whole top, there's nothing there. Usually when that happened, I had mixed up some resin, and I was going along, and I had extra resin, and I said, oh geez, let me go ahead and put this piece on too. I didn't have the edge, and all you do is tear this apart to make that wispy edge. I didn't have that. I had resin on my gloves, so I wasn't going to get into tearing it and making that mess, so I just figured I'll deal with it later. And minutes later. So so basically this right here is our back seat. What we've done is we've added this partition right here. This will be our battery compartment. Okay, we'll put our battery switch in here. If you look underneath here, you can see that little piece of wood sticking down. That's going to be where we're going to mount our fuel filter. So the fuel filter will be pretty easy to access. The way it was mounted in the boat prior wasn't really even mounted. It was half screwed. Now one of the things that I've learned is, you can see I already cut out all the rod holders. Don't do this if you're doing it. Leave that thing solid. It makes it much easier to ferret out and everything. You can see all the snot I got in there. I'm gonna have to clean out. Yeah, I made my job a lot harder, but the problem was I wanted to make sure that the angled rod holders were going to be able to fit, and then got kind of carried away. So you can see that the fairing is pretty thick on the top. Well, the top is a little bumpy, and the top is one of those few spots that you're going to be able to see. When you get on the boat, I mean, you're going to be able to obviously see this part right here, but the seat's going to extend over, so it's going to be limited. There's going to be a cushion back here, so you're not going to really see this, but that top you're going to see. So we want to get that top pretty smooth, and that goes for the other seat as well. So you can see we got a thick layer on both of those. At the beginning, what I was doing with this was putting it on very thin, sanding it off. I was using a 5-inch orbital sander with a vacuum, because I don't really like dust. It was working all right, but I was putting it on. I have to do a thin layer, thin layer, thin layer, thin layer. What I realized is if I use a belt sander, I can actually do a thicker layer. So we tried it out. I had an old belt sander. We tried it out. Belt sander didn't last long, so we went out and we bought a new belt sander. And I'll show you that here in a minute. But let me show you the console. So this is the console, and the same thing with the console. Now, this side of the console you're not going to see, but the rest of it you will see. And it has a lot of flat surfaces. We got the top, we got the face. So we want these to be pretty flat. I did have a problem here in the corner, and I ended up adding the piece. So you can see where I had to fair that in pretty good. But we do want this to be pretty smooth. Once we put the gel coat on it, you're gonna see the waves. I mean, I'm sure you've seen the waves in any boat you've ever looked at. There's always, it's never gonna be perfect, but you do want to get it as close as you can. This is the side that will be exposed. You'll be able to see this side, so we want to get that pretty smooth. Now, of course, the back you're not going to see at all. The back of the console you'll see quite well. So that's where we're at with this. It's getting there.
Well, like I mentioned in the beginning of the video, I'd tell you a little more about that green tent. This is the same green tent. It is on top of a cactus, which is about 16 feet in the air. So when we get a storm down here, we get a pretty good storm. And it destroyed that tent, put it right on top of that cactus. But that wasn't the only thing that storm destroyed. This is the frame of the tent that actually covers up the Explorer. You can see that fell victim to the storm as well. Well, thanks for watching. Next time maybe we'll get some gel coat on these seats and see how that turns out. And don't forget to like the video, subscribe, ring that bell, and we'll let you know when we're back again. We're trying to do these every week, so hopefully we'll have another one out for you next week. Thanks.